My girlfriends are like my life. Mm-hmm. That's like pretty much, I think that's why I'm able to stay single as long as I am, because like my girlfriend's literally like my life. I've never dated anyone like as a boyfriend, literally, other than that small town I'm from. How crazy is that? How do you differentiate like true love and if you're anyone?
You know, sometimes it feels like you're kissing like a fax machine or something. Whereas like Latina girls, it's like, okay, like the kissing
you're
at
like,
least
wait,
is always
she
good.
loves me tonight.
Yeah. Got the Riz.
No, what is Riz? Everyone keeps saying that here. When you meet someone online, that's like pure vanity. Like you're just going like, I like the way you look. I like the way you look. Let's see if we like how we look together.
So you like ugly guys with good personalities?
Yeah.
It's a condition. It's called geronophilia.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a cure for it.
A lot of girls really want the bare minimum things. Like it's like when you're laying in bed and your baby's crying, if your husband gets up to the baby, like that's like a way more important thing than like coming home with like a Chanel bag. Like that's just like gonna sit in your closet. I mean, we dated.
Yeah, and then one night he doesn't put in the effort, and that's when you liked him. In Fight Club when he's punching himself in the face.
Oh my God. That's so scary when you say that out loud.
Women say they want is often molded by society's expectation.
Definitely. You would say the when you know is like very real.
Yeah. He'll argue against it. He says that it's bullshit and like people just like make that up.
Bullshit, of course.
I can't date anyone because I don't even know what I want, who I am. I'm saying I want this, but then I'm not really deserving of that yet because I'm not doing what that person that deserves those things is doing. And like, there was just a lot that I was like, okay.
I've never been a fuckboy.
That is not true. He's definitely lying. 100% lying. Welcome to Unattainable. Glad to have you with us. I'm your host, Zach Evans, along with my co-host, Mohammed Molay. And first of all, thank you to all of our listeners. We've been getting a ton of growth and engagement over the last few weeks, and we got to thank you guys out there for that. Today, we got a special guest on the show. This is Evie.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Evie, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience. Name, what you do, and your star sign.
I am Evie Marie. I'm 27, living in Los Angeles, but I am from Australia. I am a TikToker, influencer, model, the whole lot. And I'm an Aries, fire.
Aries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know all about you guys.
Yeah, we're wild.
You guys are fun, bad for my mental health, I think would be the best way to put it.
We're bad for our own as well. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, gonna cost me a lot of money in therapy someday.
Literally, it's okay.
Toxic, I think, is the best word for
it. Literally, but it's okay. Keeps it fun.
You know, I feel like if somebody's not toxic at all, it's kind of like, all right, come on. Give me something. Give me something.
Me and my girlfriend were having this conversation literally yesterday about how, like, the graph between wanting a nice guy but then wanting a toxic guy and trying to find that happy medium, and it just almost doesn't exist anymore.
Because you want the toxic guy.
But it's also, like, I find now we're so more, like, nitpicky with what attributes we want, and it seems we have so much more access to that that we're like, oh, I want a little bit of toxic, but I want him to be toxic nice, and then you suddenly end up with like constantly nitpicking everything.
The truth is, what you want is the guy who can get a bunch of girls because he has all the attributes that get girls. But then the problem with that,
he's gonna replace you.
Is he can get all the girls.
Yeah.
So that's really what girls always want is like the fuck boy, the guy who can get all the girls because he has those attributes. But you want to turn him into the nice guy who only simps for you.
I can
that's
change
like every
him.
girl's dream.
Yeah, but does that exist?
Besides me, I don't know if there's anybody.
We'll see. I find in Los Angeles there's definitely that facade everywhere, but does it exist?
I mean, time will tell.
What are these toxic traits that you like in a guy?
Oh, see, my ones, like, they are the ones that, like, are on the bridge of being healthy, but then they enter toxic. So it's like, I like a guy that's, you know, got ground and is, like, controlling, but then it's like, to what degree is that fine? So it's like, oh, I don't want you to go there. And I'm like, oh, okay, I won't go there. But then it's like suddenly you get to a point in the relationship and you're like, wait, I'm not allowed to go anywhere. So it's like finding that middle ground.
And it's like, why can't I like my male cousin's graduation pictures.
Oh my gosh! Please tell me that's not happened to you.
No,
I was gonna say that's a whole new level of.
But I have dated a lot of Latina girls in the past who can
crazy.
be. It's kind of actually it's kind of similar because Latinas are typically great dancers, best in bed, but like even great kissers. Like white girls, like sometimes it feels like you're kissing like a fax machine or something. Whereas like Latina girls, it's like okay, like the kissing
You're
at
like,
least
wait,
is always
she
good.
loves me tonight.
Yeah. But it's also a very jealous culture. Which, by the way, I don't blame Latina girls because the reason it's a jealous culture is because Latino men typically cheat a lot. It's like very
really?
common. Like one of my friends, he moved to Mexico.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, he moved back in college, and he's been there for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And I was dating this girl, and he was like, "Oh, did you cheat on her yet?"
Oh my god.
But he said it in the most casual way, as if it was just normal. Like, of course we cheat on her. It was like very eye-opening me, like culture-wise. And I've talked to a lot of Latina girls, and they say the same thing. They're like, "Oh, yeah, like in Mexico and South America, it's just like there's a much higher prevalence even in the US."
I think you're narrowing that down. I think that's all men.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm yet
What
to...
about the simps?
No, even the Sims, like the thing is, I was in a relationship for 5.5 years, and I was like, in this relationship bubble. So I had no real idea of like the single world. Then when I went out for the first few times, you see people that you've known for ages in relationships or like randoms and stuff like that. You become single and you see a whole nother side to men. And like the guys you thought were like the loyal, amazing guys are not. And like I'm still yet to just meet someone that's like fully down loyal for their girl.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
I think I'm the only one actually left in
Oh.
LA.
You're like, wait, I'm the rose.
To be fair, I'm a recovering fuckboy. I used to be very
Got it
toxic
out of your system then.
back in my villain era, but now I've kind of changed my ways.
So how did you turn that around?
You get to a point.
Please give a really good speech right now how you turn this around.
So in high school, I was the loser simp nerd guy.
Right. I love that though.
No, you don't. You would have not talked to me in high school, I promise you.
See, no, okay. Everyone says this to me and it's such a like facade because I love the quiet nerdy guy because that's the one that's
don't.
like, they do because they're not looking at like achieving something because they think I can't even get this. So they're just like so sat back.
I'm going to tell you about something. Every time a girl tells me they like nerds, every girl likes fake nerds. Every girl, oh, yeah, I love nerds. Show me your boyfriend. She shows me. I'm like, this is just a male model with glasses. This is just like a guy with a six-pack and a stigmatism.
I want to show you my ex, but I don't know my phone.
So he was the real nerds you will never.
He was real.
The real nerds you will never meet because if they leave their basement for more than 3 hours, their mom might come downstairs and clean up the game. Those are the real nerds.
So was this you in high school?
I mean, not that bad, but kind of. Like I had very low social awareness,
Yeah.
So then, friend zone, rejected. Every girl, oh, it's Zach. Any girl would be so lucky to have you, but not me. But any other girl would be so lucky. Go to the next girl. Oh, any girl would be so lucky to have you, but not me. But any other girl. And it happened so many times. I started to figure out maybe I should look in reality instead of what girls are telling me. Because when someone tells you the sky is green so many times and every time you look outside and the sky is blue, and you're like, who is this hot girl dating? Fuck boy. Who's this hot girl dating? Fuck boy. Fuck boy, fuck boy, fuck boy. And eventually you say,
Wait, no.
maybe there's a pattern here. So then I became a huge fuckboy and just was like...
That was the solution?
Well, to be fair, I was a professional fuckboy.
What deems a professional fuckboy? What attributes is that?
So these amateur fuckboys nowadays, right? With the little dangly earring from Temu, the TikTok hair, you ever go
Are they
on...
pulling?
Are they what?
Are they pulling?
Yeah, some of those guys pull.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I know girls that have fucked a dude with a bed that touches 2 walls. like a poor person who doesn't know what the fuck a nightstand is.
No.
With no headboard.
No.
They got all their furniture off TikTok Shop. They have 3-in-1 shampoo. Like they drink coffee out of a cereal bowl because them and their 4 roommates haven't done dishes since 2023.
Then I'm guessing it kind of like rewinds back to what you were saying, where they like very charismatic or funny.
Yeah.
So
they're good looking. You know,
Oh,
they got the Riz.
No, what is Riz? Everyone keeps saying that here.
It's kind of like
It's charm.
game.
But Jay-Z charm and game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can like pull
Riz.
chicks with your words.
Okay, so you had Riz.
Got the Riz going.
I got the Riz.
Got the Riz. And then I got rich. So I was like...
You're like, wait, now I'm unstoppable.
no, it's like I got all the Infinity Stones, you know? It's like,
You're like, wait, now I have everything it means. I like read this book actually, and it was saying to be a man, you need to know who you are, what you make, and how other men perceive you.
no, that's gay. What it actually is, you need looks.
Lame.
You need looks. You need Riz, and you need money/status. Those are the 3 categories, and you need 2 out of 3.
Right.
Yeah. Like if you're rich and good looking, you don't really have to have Riz. Like you get chicks on your boat. If you're like funny and good looking, you don't have to be rich because like you're funny and good looking.
Yeah.
So like you just gotta have 2 out of 3.
You gotta.
But explain.
You gotta pick your poison.
Explain your theory. Yeah.
Which
yeah.
one?
The one you just said.
Wait, I
That you need
forgot
4
now.
things as a guy.
Oh,
Know yourself.
Who you are,
Okay.
what you do, what you make, and how other males perceive you. So I guess it's like masculinity as well in yourself as being like secure. Because even though your things you said, I feel like a lot of men that have those qualities are in fact actually still very insecure.
But they still get chicks.
Yeah, but that's not like the whole point of life.
Well, yeah, of course.
I thought you were going to say something. Yeah, it is.
It is for Zach.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like...
Technically, actually, from an evolutionary perspective, everything we're doing is designed to survive and replicate.
I know,
So,
I find the layout
technically,
here...
I am right.
I find
Technically.
you're like, my theory works.
Yeah.
But like, I find out here it is really crazy. Like, women just rule everything. Like, they want like the girls on the table. They want the girls at the venues. They want the girls at the games and all these kind of things. Where like Australian culture is kind of like, if the boys are going out and getting a table, they're like, please keep the girls the fuck away from us. Like, we're with our guys. Like, it's just not like that in Australia at all.
LA, so I'm white straight male, right? So my privilege, and I'm a Pisces, so my privilege is like,
Oh, sensitive.
the fuck? By the
Little
way,
water.
I identify as a Leo, so please refer to me by my pronouns. Okay?
You're like, I changed mine.
Actually, please refer to me by my adjectives, which are smart, successful, rich, funny, attractive, tall, smart, funny, and attractive. Yeah.
Okay, smart, funny, and attractive.
Yeah. Even my mom said so. It's definitely true.
Smart, funny, and attractive. How's your day going?
Amazing.
You're like, it'll do.
But there's one privilege that still beats me, and that's pretty privilege.
Yeah.
It is unstoppable. I mean, for me to get on a private jet, I got to work for like 25 years of my life, like ignore my wife and kids and trash that relationship, like wake up at 6 a.m. every day. Maybe I can get on a private jet.
Yeah.
If you're a hot girl, one DM. A single DM. Game the fuck over.
Yeah,
and
but-
you can invite all your friends too.
Yeah, but it's a private jet. It's a plane. Catch me in 33E. We're getting to the same spot.
Don't gaslight me. If someone invited you on a private jet tomorrow, you would definitely go.
Depends where I'm going.
Anywhere.
I mean, they're not going to take you on a private
You
jet
would
to
fly
Wyoming.
to Palm Springs on a private jet for no reason, just to go have lunch and then come back.
Well, currently right now I'm going to Palm Springs in 2 days in a rental car with 5 of my girlfriends.
I'm going to Palm Springs.
And I would not trade that for the jet. You know what?
So while you're there, there's actually this small little festival that's going on right now in LA.
Yeah.
It's called Coachella. We're going to be there. You should definitely come.
What's it called?
Coachella.
Coachella.
It's actually the
I've
name
never
of
heard
a
of it.
town, but it's like a little festival, little
kidding.
hole in the wall. I don't know if Australians like understand the world.
No! Oh my God,
I don't know your education system.
That is crazy. I literally, every time I come here and I like make one of those jokes, I'll be like, oh, Apple, like we don't have that. And they're like, what? You don't have Apple? I'm like, what the fuck do you guys think's going on down there?
No, I know you guys are a first world country, so you don't use Androids like the.
Oh, I was in
third world
Miami.
people.
The photographer we were with thought that Australia was a third world country. I was
Really?
like, sorry. He's like, oh, like it's so cool you're out here, and I was like, what? Sorry?
Wait. But are you from Sydney or Melbourne?
Oh my god, I'm not from either.
Oh, interesting.
I'm from Gold Coast. So Gold Coast, Australia is like the mimic of Miami. So basically Australia doesn't really have anything that's kind of laid out itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of all mimics of things, and Gold Coast is like Miami,
I see.
like the layout. and
Because what I heard is we have some friends from Australia,
yeah.
and the Sydney people say that Melbourne's ghetto, and then the Melbourne people say Sydney's like uptight and no fun. Is that pretty accurate?
Melbourne
Yeah.
is New York, LA is Sydney, Gold Coast, Miami.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So those are like the Temu versions of what we have here.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Okay, perfect.
And it's like so chill. Like everything ends, like our lockout laws are like 2 a.m. Like in Gold Coast, our venues close at like 10 p.m. Like it's all very, very chill. So you come out here and it's like such a shock.
Really? LA closes 2 a.m. Well, there's always after parties. But,
Yeah, you guys love like your little house shindigs.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, like we're all like, I'm like sitting in a house. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Well, what happened is over COVID. So before COVID, like the clubs, you saw the clubs, right? But the clubs.
No, I had never been.
Oh, you
here.
haven't been.
Yeah.
You should definitely come out sometime.
No. I've been now, but I hadn't been pre-COVID.
I see. What basically happened is the clubs kept fucking everybody over. Like if you buy a bottle at the club, like the experience is horrible. Like you basically, you buy a bottle, they take forever to bring it out. Then they have little bullshit fees, entertainment fee, tax, service fee. And then the waitresses try to get you to tip more on top of the tip that's included. And it's a shitty experience.
So actually, this is the perfect opportunity for me to ask this, because I've never been in a setting where I can just sit and ask this.
Yeah.
How much is it to buy one bottle with all the services, all the tips, all that one bottle?
Cheapest one is typically $500 with tax.
Oh, okay, that's actually not that bad.
But tax, tip, entertainment fee, bullshit, taxes, it's like 800 something.
USD.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's actually not too bad.
But that's not for the table, that's for one bottle.
How much is a table?
I mean, it could be anywhere from $2K to like $40K, depending on like how crazy the night.
$40,000.
I mean, you know better than me. What's the most expensive table you've ever seen?
The most expensive table I've ever seen is like 15 grand. Well, it depends where you're going. Like if you're at Coachella, obviously it's like different. But if you're just going to the club in LA, it's like 4K.
$40,000 on a table is actually diabolical. That gives me anxiety.
I've seen people spend like 250,000, 300,000, just not even blink. Which is just like crazy, you know.
People got money
See,
here.
no,
People
but
got money here.
I would look at that person and be like, what are you doing? Like, that is a house deposit. That is a car.
I wonder if he impressed the girl he was trying to impress, though. That's the really.
That would not
question.
impress me. I'd be like, what are you doing?
I mean,
You'd be like, this guy's irresponsible.
Yeah, I would literally be like, you can make better life decisions right now.
There are kids right now that have parents that are billionaires, and they'll just like go out and spend that credit card like there's no tomorrow.
That is wild to me. So you have kids, don't you?
Me?
Didn't you say you had kids?
No, hell no. Kids?
I thought
Not that he knows of.
You were saying before that you get the Latinas. Someone's going to come to you soon and be like, hey.
No, they're going to be like,
Remember
hola,
me?
hola, ¿cómo te
Yeah,
llamas?
literally remember me. Oh, wait, rewind.
Yeah.
What was your advice you had for men to turn into men? You said you started as a nerd.
Oh, yeah. So I turned into a fuckboy.
Yeah.
There's two routes you can take.
Yeah.
Some people just stay in that phase their whole life, even when it gets played out, right?
Yeah.
And some people like me, eventually just fuck enough girls that you're kind of like, all right, what am I going to do? Go fuck another girl? Which is like fun.
That's a really beautiful awakening.
What
age does that happen at?
I realized it actually one night. I was in Vegas, and there was this girl I was talking to, and in Vegas, the clubs close at like 4 or 5 a.m., right? So we leave at like 4 a.m., and then she's like, oh, I'm hungry, right? in Vegas, we're at Win Encore, so there's no fast food. So we go to this little like sit down place. Waiter's taking forever. The check's taking forever. We get out it's like 5:30 a.m. I don't do coke, so I'm like dead tired at this point. And I remember getting back to my place and just thinking, I would honestly rather sleep than fuck this girl.
Aww.
But it's like I put in so much time. It's like, well, I kind of have to do it now.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine
But you put in that much effort. It's like, what am I going to do now? Just go to sleep and like...
Yes.
But
respect your body's wishes.
No, but after that day, then I was like, let me respect my body's wishes at like 1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Instead of like dragging on, getting no sleep, getting no work done the next day. And it just got less exciting when it's like, you wake up, I just fucked this hot girl.
Yeah.
And like, you realize nobody really gives a fuck.
No,
your friends don't really care.
Anything.
Yeah, bro, good job. Like, who cares? Here's your Instagram, dude. She's so hot. Who cares?
Oh my
It's
God,
like what actually got done at the end of the day?
Exactly. But I also, my biggest thing that I get so concerned with people that do that is my perception of it would be, how do you differentiate like true love and fucking if you're fucking anyone?
Well, you don't want to know the real answer to this question. Because I don't want to ruin love for you. But like...
my mum says this all the time. She was like, you still have faith in like the fairy like tale and it's not happening. I was like, thanks, Mum.
It's not that love doesn't exist. It's just love is a purely biological, physiological process by which repeated exposure to the feelings of validation from somebody else in your peer group anchors those emotions so strongly to that person that the mere thought of that person elicits heightened levels of dopamine and serotonin in the neural pathways of your prefrontal cortex. That's what love is.
I feel though that like the main reason love is not how it is anymore is like back in the day, a man would only see like a hot chick once a month or maybe once every 2 months at like an actual venue, where now it's just so accessible. And it's like you have a fight with someone and within 20 minutes you can go and message a heap of people, like 20 people, you get 3 replies. Oh, these are 3 girls that want me. And then that makes them think like, oh, okay, I don't need this situation, instead of like working it out.
Here's how I know that what you said is true, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of hot people in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We're actually the #1 dairy state in the world.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cows in Wisconsin, if you know what I'm saying. So because of that, it's like guys will find some girl who's like, a 6.5 or whatever, and it's the best they've ever seen.
Yeah.
They've never seen another girl except on the television that's hotter than the 6.5. They're like, well, shit, might as well get married. I might as well lock down sex forever with like 6.5. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to like go to the bar and hope to get lucky with like a 3.
Yeah.
Just to like, because I have needs to be met. And I think, and people never frame it like that, but I really think that's what goes on in a lot of people's minds.
100%. 100% that's what happened. And now it's like there's all this access and you can actually, the girl he saw on TV, you can message her now.
DM her.
Yeah. You can literally be like, wait, maybe I have a chance with someone like this. Or maybe I can have a chance with the Temu version of that one. Like there's so much access.
Did you just steal my Temu joke?
Yeah, literally, we've done a full circle.
You're like Plankton trying to steal my formula.
But it's even like I've seen these things. Like I don't know if you saw, I forget who did it. It was a skit. And it was someone talking about when Tiger Woods had like cheated on his wife. And they were saying like, it's so, like someone was talking about it saying like, that's horrible. Like, how could he do that? Blah, blah, blah. And it was like this random person from this random place. And he was like, it's easy for you to not cheat. No one's trying to fuck you.
You got no options.
Yeah, literally. Where it's like Tiger Woods, he's got so many options. It's like, oh, you only cheated that many times. But it's just access. But I still believe in true love.
Yeah. How's that working out for you?
Have you ever been in love?
Yes, I definitely have. But again, it was when I was really young. So I haven't really been in love as an adult or when I kind of liked the person I was. Like now I'm like very comfortable with who I am and like I know what I want. I know what I want to give. So even like when I see I was in love, there was like a side of me that I'm like, was I? Because I didn't even know who I was. Where it was like that was just kind of working at the time. But I haven't had a boyfriend in like 2.5 years now.
How old are you?
27.
And why haven't you had a boyfriend?
I don't know. I don't date. I don't do that.
Are you on the apps?
No, I'm not.
You
I'm
don't
literally
date?
not. No.
Why don't you date?
Because the idea of like going and sitting somewhere and potentially not like vibing or ending up in the same like vicious cycle, I just go, oh, or I could just like stay in, or I can go hang with my girlfriends. But then I want a husband, but then the guys that are asking to go on the dates, I'm like, you're not a husband.
Because you're going to the clubs to try to find guys.
Literally. But like, I've met really, really good guys. You're like, well, where are they then?
Show me the receipts.
Yeah, you're like, how's that going?
Where's the receipts?
I've met really good guys out on like whims. And the thing is like, when I meet someone, I need it to be organic so that I can tell it's like chemistry. Because when you meet someone online, that's like pure vanity. Like you're just going like, I like the way you look. I like the way you look. Let's see if we like how we look together.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure. And then,
well, that's why I don't date.
but I don't understand. You said you meet people
I meet
organic.
people
You've
out.
never met somebody organically?
No, I have, but not dated them.
Because
It just never really goes anywhere. I find like it's just, especially out here, the way that kind of people operate is it's so just like move. And I find like I've just never really met someone since I was in a relationship that I was like, okay, this is worth putting in like the energy and the effort for.
Mm-hmm. It just sounds like you're not a very sexual person.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Okay.
Because like I feel when you're like a woman, it's very scary that can be something that people are purely coming to you for. So then it's kind of like to feel safe, you need that emotional, and then to feel that connection, yeah, you need to really like the person and know that's like they're there for the right reason. They're not just trying to stick it in.
I see. So you more so don't go for looks, you more so go for personality.
100%, 190%. If like after this, because I know you're clocking me right now, I'm going to show you my exes. I actually don't go.
So you like
for
ugly
looks.
guys with good personalities?
Yeah.
It's a condition. It's called geronophilia.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a cure for it. I mean, you'll be fine. Your ancestors are going to be, or your bloodline's going to be fine.
You're like, you're ruining that. And I
Yeah.
do. I want to get married. I want to have kids.
Yeah.
So it seems like the problem is most of the not so attractive guys are avoiding you because you're way out of their league, and the guys who are very good looking are actually coming up to you, but you don't like them because they're good looking.
100%. And it's funny. I have this conversation actually so much. Someone will be like to you, oh, I'm not going to get you a drink because everyone's probably buying you a drink tonight. I don't want to tell you you're good looking because you get that every day.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone thinking that, no one then does anything except for the ones with like massive egos.
Mm-hmm.
And then you miss out on like this big gap here.
Does height matter?
Yes. I have dated a guy that was shorter than me. And I think that comes with like energy. Like, you know, he still had very masculine energy. And like when we stood together, you could still tell like that was a manly man.
Mm-hmm.
But conventionally, I'm very tall. Like I'm 5'11".
Mm-hmm.
So like ideally height would be amazing so that I feel feminine, because I also love my stilettos.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the be all end all.
Did it feel weird kissing down?
No.
No.
No, it actually didn't. Like, I genuinely like didn't think of it. All my friends are like, what the fuck is going on right now?
I have a friend who's 6'1".
Yeah, a girl?
Girl, yeah. And she
Oh,
always comes to
slay.
me for like relationship advice. Zach, what is this guy's thinking? Blah, blah, blah.
She gonna have NBA babies.
She would always date basketball players, NBA players. Like,
Yeah.
not the famous ones, but like the ones in the NBA, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're still
Coming
there.
up.
Yeah, they're still there. Like, they're still like G League maybe.
Yeah.
And finally one day she was like, Zach, I'm sick of getting fucked over. I don't care about height, looks, money, none of that stuff. I just want a guy, great personality, who loves me and a connection, right?
Yeah.
So she starts dating this short dude, like 5'7" maybe.
Yeah.
So she's 6'1" with heels. I mean, she's towering over him like Shrek. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But good looking guy, successful, charismatic, everything else, right? 3 weeks later, I was like, yo, is Dave coming out tonight? I actually like the guy. He was like kind of cool.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, what happened to that? I was like, what happened? So apparently she had a couple glasses of wine.
Yeah.
And he comes over to her place. And she opens the door. She gives him a hug. And she said, Zach, I picked him up.
I manhandled him.
And then she said, I spun him around. And I watched his little legs go like this. And she was like,
how tall was he?
5'7".
Oh my gosh.
And she was like, Zach, I lost all respect for him as a man in that moment.
That's so much shorter than me. Wow.
And I was like, I get it.
And
like,
she's 6'1".
You could have D1 athletes.
Yeah,
You're going to have some little
literally.
Oompa Loompa leprechauns running around.
Oh, but she might have loved him. I feel like we keep doing this little cycle of me being like, wait.
Wait, but maybe Disney movies are true.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But wait, so that was the end of it?
That was it. Game over.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
So it sounds like you mostly like more dominant men
Yes,
with very
100%.
Strong personalities.
Well, I think for me, like, when I'm not with a guy, I naturally am, like, quite masculine and dominant. Like, I have, like, my way I like to do things, and, like, I love structure. I love routine. And, like, even with my girlfriends, like, I'll have, like, very masculine energy with them. Like, I love organizing everything, taking them out, doing that for them. So when I have, like, a man in my life, I like to, like, really let my walls down. Like, I like to, like, you lead the way kind of thing. Because it's, like, finally my time to, like, be feminine.
Interesting.
You seem like the leader of your girlfriends. Are you the sinker?
The singer?
Sinker.
What's that?
So I don't know if you know this, but when a bunch of girls hang out together,
Yeah.
a lot, their periods sync up to whoever the
Oh my
alpha.
God.
No, this is real. This is science.
I know it's
yeah,
real.
yeah.
I know it's real.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You might be the sinker, the master sinker.
Oh my God. Hello,
Everybody sinks to
everyone.
you. Yeah.
Sorry. No, my girlfriends are like my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's like pretty much, I think that's why I'm able to stay single as long as I am. Because like my girlfriend's literally like my life.
I'm assuming they're not. You didn't meet them in LA.
No. So the girls I'm with at the moment, there's 5 of us. We're all Australian.
Okay, yeah.
Most of my girlfriends out here are Australian.
Good luck in LA with that.
Why?
It's very difficult for girls to meet friends.
Why?
Girls are very competitive here because everybody's moving here to be a model, an actress, a singer.
Yeah.
So it breeds this competitive environment. And on top of that, all right, have you heard of group chat theory?
No.
All right, that's because I made it up.
Oh.
But this is crazy.
You're like, wait. You're like, is it trending yet?
This girl I used to date, we had a really bad, during the relationship, she would tell me, she'd be like, Zach, just so you know, every group of girls has a group chat. But what people don't know is there's always a second secret group chat that has the core members of the first group chat, and they all talk shit about the first group chat. Do you have a second group chat?
No.
All right. She also said if you don't have a
That's
second...
fucking horrible.
She also said if you don't have a second group chat...
Oh my God, maybe I'm not in the second
that
group
means
chat.
you're not in it. But it gets crazier. So we had a really bad breakup, like a really bad falling out. And she had at the same time a fallout with like 3 of her close girlfriends. So I'm talking to one of her girlfriends about it.
Oh God.
And we're venting.
Why were you talking to one of the girlfriends about
This
it?
is back in my toxic era. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
right.
anymore. Now I'm very shy and romantic.
Oh, I just need to like consolidate with someone.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
You
yeah.
knew her.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to help her out.
Yeah.
I actually consider myself somewhat of a philanthropist in this situation.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
So, I was
Not
like,
all heroes wear capes.
check this out. It gets crazier. So I asked the girl, I was like, yo, just so you know, they have this second secret group chat that they're talking shit about you.
You fucking shit stirrer.
But guess what happened? She starts laughing. But not like a normal like person laugh. It was like an evil genius, like maniacal laugh. I was like, what happened? She's like, what they don't know is there's a secret third group chat that talks shit about the second group chat that talks shit about the third group chat. And I'm like, girls have like a flow chart of like who's toxic to who's talking shit behind their back, like it's an entire operation.
Oh, but how do you keep up with that?
I don't know.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's going to be
boring.
difficult for you to find friends here.
Honestly, I feel like though at the age I am now, I'm not really looking to like make many new friends. I'm like really happy with my girl group.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much time to go around when you have real
What?
friends.
Why? What do you mean?
I'm just saying, there's if you're a career girl and you got shit going on in your life,
Yeah.
there's only so much time for so many people.
Oh my God. I thought you
So-
mean like the timeline of like me expiring like we were talking about earlier. And
But
I was
it
like,
sound-
stop
it-
bringing it up.
It sounds like you think you're expiring.
Yeah, well, 30's coming soon,
Uh-huh.
which is scary. But
Is it?
it's funny. I still am. I feel like I'm very scared to turn 30. But then a lot of my girlfriends that are 30, like, I see them and they're still so young, so beautiful, like thriving, still following their dreams and stuff. So I feel that's calming my nerves. And they said once you hit 30, you're like, oh, I've hit it, and it's all just like normal again from there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's gonna happen.
What happens if you're still single and 40?
I really hope that's not the case, Mo.
But what happens if it is?
I would get
A cat.
no, I wouldn't get an animal. I would get IVF and have a baby alone in my little apartment in Australia.
Very, very independent of you.
Yeah.
Or just find a guy who's into that.
Into what? Just giving me a kid.
No, a lot of guys like dinosaurs, you know what I mean?
But I feel like that's what I truly think by like 40, it would be even harder to date. Actually, no, maybe it gets easier because no one's in the
it's all
scene.
relative, but
Wait, are you guys both single?
I mean, we're all single in the eyes of God, you know?
Oh, there's someone watching this right now going, fuck that guy.
I got blasted in this Facebook group.
So I'll ask you the question again. Are
Yeah.
you single?
I mean, technically, yes.
Oh, you are now. When someone watches that,
This isn't live streamed.
yeah, literally, someone's gonna watch that and be like, "Fuck you."
I mean, chances are by the time this comes out, he is. So you never know.
Wait, what's your longest relationship?
3.5 years.
Right.
This is my first one. Have you heard of the 3 loves theory?
No.
So everybody has 3 loves in their life.
Yeah.
You have your first love that you think is going to last forever because you don't know any better.
Yeah, I
Then-
had that one.
Your second love is like the toxic love that just breaks you and forces you to learn the tough life lessons. And then your third love is your soulmate. After you've learned all your lessons from the first 2, now you really understand what you want in a relationship and in a partner. And that's when you really find your soulmate. But the second love has to prepare you for the third love.
Right.
So people think they can just skip to the third one, but they forgot to do the second one.
Right. I don't know. I don't know about that theory because I've had
5
5
toxic relationships.
No.
You're stuck in the middle. You have to get to the third one.
No. I've had 5 long-term relationships. So my
Okay.
first one was 3 years. My second one was a year. My third one was 2.5 years. Fourth one was 2 years. Last one was 5.5 years.
So you're a relationship slut.
Yeah, like
Wait,
relation.
what? How does that math even work?
I know.
Wait,
Since I was
would you
14.
start- That doesn't count.
No, I think she
No,
does it
it
at
does.
multiple relationships at the same time without them knowing.
Oh
So
my
she could
gosh,
boost
no.
her stats up.
No, I always just like. So my grandparents have been together since they were 14.
Uh-huh.
And then my parents were together, so I like had this perception like that's like, because I grew up in like a small town in Australia.
Sure, but regardless of your upbringing and how where you were raised, you can't, like, a 14-year-old relationship is not a relationship.
Oh my god, it felt it.
For who?
Me, I was so in love.
Okay, all right. So that first one was how long, you said?
So that was 3 years.
3 years. Okay, so you're 17 now. Then you're dating somebody else immediately.
Yeah, pretty much.
Until what?
A year.
A year. Okay, that doesn't count either. And then
Stop!
And then 18. Okay, so the first 2 are bullshit. And then
Yeah.
what do you got after?
18, 2 years.
So you started immediately after that, you started dating somebody else.
Pretty much.
Okay. That is exactly why your relationships are bullshit. So 18, you start dating somebody for 2 years until 20.
No, we've got to go back. So 13 through to 16, 16 through to 18, 18 through to 20, 20 to 22. And then the last one I finished was at 25.
So 22, then you start dating somebody else until 5 years for 25?
Yeah.
So every single one of these relationships are back to back?
Pretty much.
How are you breaking up and then going to another relationship immediately?
Where I lived, it was like small town. So it was like everyone knew everyone. It was like in the scene kind of stuff. So you just would meet people extremely fast. And it was like everyone was coupled up. It was very normal. And then I feel once I left that relationship and kind of started traveling, I saw that like that obviously was not how it was. So even like, for example, my last boyfriend that I was with the longest until I was like an adult, we were in a city, but we were both from that small town. Mm-hmm. So I've never dated anyone like as a boyfriend, literally other than that small town I'm from. How crazy is that?
That is crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the 5
Wait, are you single?
I'm married.
Okay.
So the 5-year relationship that you were in.
Yes.
Would you consider that the one you would say is your biggest love or not?
Yes and no. So I met him. He healed kind of all the parts I needed healing at that time. Like I came from a bad relationship that like I needed someone to kind of just show me that like kindness and like soft love existed. But in hindsight, after like leaving it, it was kind of very like just very normal. There was nothing that was actually super incredible. Also, we were dating, I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. We were dating during COVID.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, COVID wasn't 5 years.
No, I know, but it was 3 years. So it was like everyone was just, I feel like everyone like got cuffed up or like stayed in their relationship because it was like, what was the point in leaving?
Yeah, well, because COVID, I don't know if you know this, but it actually influences you actually lose your taste. And I know a lot of girls who just lost their taste in men as well. Some of these dudes they were dating, I was like, this motherfucker, he still gets the hiccups. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, they might be.
So was that guy, your last boyfriend, the one who was controlling?
No.
The one before that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, my last one, he was very beautiful, very chill. We had a very like
no controlling at all.
Not really at all.
So do you think that? So why is it that you prefer a man who has toxic traits, one of them being a controlling trait?
Because I find that's like, you got to have a very healthy level of it, but it's like, it's masculinity. And that was almost where me and him had issues, was we were so peaceful, like so peaceful. Everything was very just fine, constantly fine.
Boring.
Yeah, it was like, not even boring. It was just constantly fine. Mm-hmm. It was like never amazing, never bad, never argued, but just like existing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then we're like, are we roommates? Are we dating? Are we getting married? Like, what are we doing? And then we both kind of just went, oh, and left it. It was so weird. Most peaceful breakup I've ever had.
Right. Both of you knew that it just wasn't.
Yeah. Well, when you date
right
someone
thing.
for 5 years, you know that person. You know them like the back of your hand. And then it's like, after that, we were like, we know we've given it everything we could have. We know each other. Or we're going to know each other for now. So we'll like, just end it.
Mm-hmm. You said something about how you think a lot of guys are insecure. What makes you say that?
I find a lot of men can sometimes think that certain things are more important than what they are. So it's like, say, for example, like wealth is a massive thing that I feel like guys think women care a lot about it. And it's like, they do. Like, it's the security and it's the attributes that come with it. So it's like the worth ethic and stuff like that. But then it's like, say, a man will get insecure of a girl. Oh, what if she's going to go for someone richer? What if she's going to go for something like that? And it's like, if you actually like stop and focus on what your girl wants, like, you know, a lot of girls really want the bare minimum things. Like, it's like when you're laying in bed and your baby's crying, if your husband gets up to the baby, like that's like a way more important thing than like coming home with like a Chanel bag. Like that's just like going to sit in your closet. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel a lot of things like that get lost.
I think you might be right once somebody is like deep in a relationship or married and has kids. I agree. But it's actually very much the opposite.
But the attributes have to exist from the get-go.
But so you say that, but most girls at more the beginning of the relationship, it's actually no, if a guy's like putting in too much effort, they'll push away. Like as a guy, you're walking this like tightrope at the beginning of the relationship where you're like, if I'm going to put in too much effort, which sounds good, but the reality is a lot of girls, once they see, oh, this is too easy, there's no more chase, goes downhill. They stop texting you back, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Where you have to kind of know what you're doing, and you can't just be, oh yeah, I'm going to be the guy who does everything for her and blah, blah, blah. You have to kind of know how to like play the game a little bit.
Yeah, but you know what's so funny? So the ex, the one I was with for 5 years, he messaged me like 3 years before we dated. And then I ran into him at the shops like 2 years before we dated. Then he messaged me again asking to hang out. I didn't reply to it. At this point, I was on a dating app. Matched me. I didn't match him back. Messaged me on Instagram and was like so consistently following up. And like I saw him out one night. Didn't speak to him. And then he was like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, doesn't matter. The next time I saw him out, he kind of like didn't even really bother saying hi because I had blown him off so many times. And then I was like, oh, hi. Like, you didn't say hello. And he was like, oh, yeah, I didn't think so. And I ended up dating him. So all those years of like putting in the effort and like, you know, copping the no replies and stuff, he actually got there in the end.
Wait, but what you just told me is all those years of putting in the effort didn't work. And then one night.
I mean, we dated.
Yeah, and then one night he doesn't put in the effort, and that's when you liked him. You just destroyed your own argument with your own argument. It's like in Fight Club when he's punching himself in the face.
Oh my God. That's so scary when you say that out loud.
Because it's true. No, but most girls are very unaware of it. Girls say all the time on the podcast, yeah, I like simps. I like guys who do everything and are super nice to me. And I'm like,
gosh.
You don't, actually.
But, that's so... Because, yeah, I literally went up to him. I was like, hi.
You're like, wait, why is he not giving me attention now?
Oh my God, that's so funny.
It's because what women say they want is often molded by society's expectation.
Definitely.
And more often than not, what they truly want is beneath the surface, and is very subconscious. And so they respond to it once they meet the person, but they don't want to admit that is the thing that they want, because it would be a negative point of view from other people's perspective.
I guess so, but I also find it's constantly changing and it's constantly evolving. I feel like that's like the problem with like today's society is no one's really ever happy. It's like, what's next? Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because of the access that you have, and social media creates this desire to want to be like others.
How long have you been married?
Almost a year.
Okay, so a year. How long did you guys date?
Almost 2 years.
And where did you meet?
Here, downstairs.
Oh, cute. So what did you find was the difference between like, you know, meeting her and wanting to marry her opposed to like people you've dated in the past?
So I was just done with my previous, well, not just, it had been like a few months that I had broken up with my ex.
Oh, so you
And-
jump from relationship to relationship.
No, I just said it was a few months.
Yeah.
She keeps using her
Yeah.
own shit against us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
she's like,
No,
I'm
it
like,
had
wait.
been it had been like 6 months or so.
Yeah.
It had been 6 months when
2 to 6. Someone's gonna watch this timeline and be like, oh.
interesting.
no,
Interesting.
it had been 6 months since we had broken up, and officially we had
Yeah.
broken up, but it had been much longer than that, probably maybe like a year or something since
Yeah.
the relationship was over. So there was this gap that we were just like, or I would say I was. I mean, she'll argue against it, but I was like still fighting for the relationship and trying to make it work. We lived together, and so I was on and off in that relationship for about 6 years. And after that relationship, I told myself, like, this is it. I'm never gonna be with anybody again. Like, fuck this.
Yeah, the standard, yeah.
Yeah. And I truly believe that too. And I think the irony in it is,
You always do.
but the thing is, like, I still to this day believe that,
Yeah.
except I met this
Your
one
wife.
person. And aside from her, I have not met a single person that I would have ever like changed my opinion on
Yeah.
when it comes to what I believed in. And so when I met her, as much as he thinks that this is all bullshit, there was this like very immediate sort of change in my perspective. And I was like, oh shit. Like, this is like, I couldn't even believe that like that could have happened at that moment because of like the level of chemistry and how I felt about her at that moment.
So, you would say the when you know is like very real.
Yeah.
Oh,
He'll argue against it. He says that it's bullshit and like people just like make that
It is
up.
bullshit, of course.
But
I mean, he's married to her now.
but that's also another thing, right? Like I think when you meet the person that you're supposed to be with,
Yeah.
it takes a lot more than just like attraction
Yeah.
to make the relationship work long term.
So what was that pinnacle difference? Like, what was so different between like relationships in the past and like her?
I truly believe in you have to really know yourself well
Yeah, that's what I
before
was saying.
you are capable and able to be in a relationship that is going to be that one relationship for you and it'll go on forever.
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is most people get into relationships and most of those relationships end, and majority of the time the reason is because people lack self-awareness.
Yeah.
And as a result, they don't understand what their values are, and therefore they end up being in relationships with people who they're not compatible with.
100%.
So after a while, the attraction starts to fade off, and then what's left is it's incompatibility and friction, and you can't get rid of friction unless you become compatible with a person. And most people are too selfish to become compatible with another person. So you're left with fights, and then after a while you just have to end it because nobody wants to be in an unhappy relationship.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people really miss the part of understanding themselves before getting into a relationship. And it takes a while for some people, more, longer for
I honestly
some.
think it's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, of course.
And you don't know that until you know that,
For sure.
which sucks.
Yeah. And for me, it was very true that the previous relationship that I had really shifted my mentality and really made me grow and really changed how I looked at a relationship and how I was able to make sure that it's not just about the simple things. You really have to work hard on yourself in order to make a relationship succeed.
Yeah, it's not like, who do you want to date? It's also like, why would someone want to date me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so a big parts of those mistakes that I was making at the time in my past relationships became very evident to me once my relationships, were ending. And I was like, oh, why is this relationship ending? And one of the things that I had to do was look inwards and look at the things that I was doing wrong as opposed to trying to blame the other person.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people end relationships and continuously blame their partner for the relationship that ended. And I think in my past relationship, the first time around we broke up, I was very angry. I was just like, I was going through this like motion of just like really hating her because I was blindsided.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Blindsided, did she cheat?
No. She just like, she ended the relationship like very abruptly.
Right. Yeah.
And I was very angry about it because like I was like, how is this possible? A month ago, you wrote me this letter on my birthday saying you wanted to spend the rest of your life with me. How is it that all of a sudden you want to end this relationship? That like, how are these words like coming out of your mouth? Like, it makes no sense.
I totally like, it's so funny because I hear that and it makes so much sense because men are so like, what you say, that's what I'm going to take, right? So if I say to you, I like you, you're going to take, well, she said she likes me, she likes me. Where women, because we change our emotions a lot, in that moment she wrote that letter, she could have fully wholehearted meant it.
Sure.
So you read it and you're like, well, you said that, so you mean it. But then within 24 hours, you'd be like, wait, fuck that guy.
Right. And that was sort of the biggest lesson that I learned was that the relationship had ended in her head.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in her head.
Yeah.
Because the words that were being told the words that were being told to me were completely different than, what was going on in her mind. And when I realized that, I was like, like I don't think it's even her own fault because she didn't know herself.
Yeah.
And so that's when my anger started to sort of drift a lot, and then I started to really look at the things that I had done that resulted in that relationship ending. And finally, I came to this place where I started to realize that all I could have done was just sort of look at what I did wrong and try to change those things about myself so I could become better the next time around.
Yeah.
And in my next relationship. And so once I met my wife, a lot of the things that she would say to me and compliment me on and say that like, hey, like I love this about you. Those were the exact same things that I had fixed.
Oh, can you imagine your ex watching you guys? She'd be like, that's all I wanted you to do. And then you're like, no, I get it now. Married.
Well, I think the irony in that is that that relationship was not going to work regardless.
Yeah.
Because I think there was so much more, like we just weren't compatible in a lot of ways. And that's also another thing that I had learned afterwards was that realizing that compatibility matters so much, but also having the same value system matters.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot. And most people don't really think of those things.
Yeah.
Even in simple issues, just knowing that the person that you're sharing your life with shares the same value system is extremely important, because then it takes away doubt and insecurity, and it takes away not wanting to trust the other person in certain situations.
And conflict,
Exactly. Because then when you know that your partner has the same value system as you, then you're so much more comfortable being able to believe in them, being able to trust them, being able to just allow yourself to open up in situations that you might feel insecure.
Yeah, it's definitely like a huge shift, and I feel like every person kind of has that person that made them kind of like Glock themselves. Like there's always like that one person where you go, wait, what have I been doing? And then you kind of look back on all the other relationships. Like I was seeing this guy and it was a similar situation. Nothing bad happened. Like it was super, super peaceful, like amazing. And I liked him so much. And then it was like it's the first time I've ever been broken up with, so I wasn't handling it well. But he basically said to me, he was like, you know, you say these things you want, but you're not being the person that's going to get those things. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but what do you mean? And he's like, you know, you're doing this or you're doing that, or, you know, like you can't regulate your emotions when you're upset, or like you can't communicate in a way that's just like simple, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't get it at the time. I was like, what do you mean? Like, if you were my boyfriend, of course I would do that. And he goes, but why is someone going to want to be your boyfriend when they can't see those attributes like already formed? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not someone's job to like bring them out of you. And I like didn't really get what he meant at the time. And then after that, I like thought about it a lot. And I was like, that's actually so true. Like, you think of these things you want to do, how you want to be. And like, until you really sit back and look at yourself, because you're so busy blaming other people and like the feelings and the hurt, you go, wait, okay, I actually need to fix this. And that's when I like did all that work and stuff. That's why I stopped dating, because I was like, wait, I can't date anyone because I don't even know what I want, who I am. I'm saying I want this, but then I'm not really deserving of that yet because I'm not doing what that person that deserves those things is doing. And like, there was just a lot that I was like, okay. And I feel like now I'm at a point finally where I could let someone in and potentially be like able to be 100%. So that's exciting, at least.
Time. It's all about time. And obviously, I think that kind of brings up a very good lesson with regards to communication, because I think communication is like a massive underrated issue that most people sort of forget about. If you're not communicating properly in a relationship, it doesn't matter what you do, you will have conflicts. Yeah. And I think most people think that they could just like get away with, oh, like he knows me, or like she knows me, or I've done this so many times, like he should know. And people, and I think I hear women do this a lot also. It's like, oh, he should already know, or I expect this, or, you know, I've said this before, but you know, before being like 2 years ago. Yeah. And then, you know, a man should like just like remember it. And I think understanding that like there's nothing wrong with communicating. There's nothing wrong with just being open with the fact that if you just spoke your mind, that you will be in a much safer space than if you didn't. I feel now vulnerability is not considered cool. Like, I can definitely see a lot of people nowadays, like, I even see it with like a lot of my friends. Like, they'll be like, oh, he said this, so like I'm not going to reply for this many hours, or like what should, like, over analyzing such little things is like breaking people just going like, hey, problem, hey, solution. Yeah. It's like so many different things are in the way for no reason. And so many like cryptic messages, like, oh, he hasn't messaged me in 3 days. And it's so true, because like if someone really does like you, they shouldn't not message you for 3 days. Like, that is weird. Mm-hmm. But then, you know, then they finally message and they go, well, they didn't message for 3 days, so I'm not going to see them, or I'm going to be super dry. And you're like, this is not how it's meant to be. Yeah. And that's why I feel like, as well, again, dating, done.
Yeah, it is tough, because like from a guy's perspective, like there are girls where you wait a couple days and they get more into you because of that. Like, I remember one time
I do agree with you on that one, but, and unlike my situation I got clocked with, if a guy doesn't message me for 3 days, I will not give it energy, because it's like, that's where that energy lies. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, I can only give and take. Like, it's like reciprocation, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you can go 3 days, we're all on our phones 24/7. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's really not that hard. Yeah.
It is. Okay. I have a very interesting story with regards to this. So me and my wife's second date. Yeah. We were going on one of our friends' yacht, and he was there. actually. And a few days before, so on our first date, we had talked, and I was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, like this weekend we're going on a yacht, and like, do you wanna come?" And she was like, "Yeah, I would love to. That'd be great. Can I bring my friend?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, sure, no problem." And 2 days before, or a couple of days before, we were talking, and she was like, "Hey, like this weekend, on Saturday, I'm going to this to a rave with my friends." I was like, "Yeah, cool, no problem." And so that day, during the day, we were talking, and then she goes to this rave, and I'm like texting her information, with about the
She probably had no reception
about the yacht, and so she's not replying to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, she must be like at the rave, and like she's probably busy, no problem." And then
she's partying. She's having a dance.
And then the next day, I'm like, texting her again, and like she's not replying. And I was like, that's interesting. Okay. And then the morning of that, like Sunday, we were going, I think, on the yacht. That morning comes, and she messages me on Instagram, and she's like, "Hey, are we still on?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I've been like texting you." She goes, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." And I sent her a screenshot, and then she sends me a screenshot how she's been messaging me. And so neither of us for the past 2 days were getting each other's messages.
Why is that?
There was like some glitch between like
my
phone and like
so
her
lucky.
phone.
That's why.
Yeah, so like she was texting me and I was texting her, and neither of us were getting the messages. And the funny thing about it is that when she was texting me and I wasn't replying to her, supposedly, she was talking to her friends, and she was very upset. She was like, "Hey, like I've been like, this guy's been talking to me the whole time. Like, is he ghosting me?" And they were like, "Yeah, he's ghosting you. Fuck him. Don't even talk to him ever again."
Yeah.
And
period.
The funny thing about it is that if she hadn't messaged me on that Sunday in the morning on Instagram, instead of just like texting me or whatever the situation was, that we would have never been able to talk to each other again, probably. Or she might have just like avoided me, and then maybe I would have texted her the next day or something like that, and like I would have been cold because like she canceled without saying anything, or like, you know what I mean? We both have like different perspectives on what happened.
Yeah.
And so our attitude,
and there would have been a little bit there where you were like, wait, is this like, is one of us bullshitting? Like, or did you straight away, you were both like, no, this was...
No, I mean, we had screenshots of like the messages not being delivered. So like that wasn't an issue. But I think, had she
Android.
not...
So they were green anyway.
Not having an iPhone almost destroyed your marriage.
Yeah,
man.
literally.
That is crazy.
Because it would be blue and say delivered.
Yeah, you would know if
Android.
it's delivered.
Yeah.
Point being that the issue of, sort of assuming that like somebody's doing something or somebody's thinking something would have killed our relationship just because of the simple issue of technology in this particular case.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are just busy. Sometimes people are just like have something going on. Sometimes people just like miss a message. Sometimes people read a message, but then they're in the middle of something and then forget to reply. There's like so many different, and sometimes people just don't even pay attention to their phones.
Yeah.
So there's like different scenarios with different types of personalities. And I think it's extremely important to communicate and put aside your ego and just be like, hey, I'm just going to talk to this person to figure out where they're at. And one of the things that I had learned very early on was like to straight up ask.
Yeah.
Are you actually interested?
Yeah.
Just be like, if you're not, just tell me that you're not. And that's okay.
Also, phone calls. If you like someone, just call them.
Unless they're Gen Z, you scare them away.
No.
What do I do?
I hate that you have experience with Gen Z dating.
Wait, why?
What is Gen Z? How old is that?
You are 96, correct?
97.
97. So you're a Gen Z.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I was picturing like a 19-year-old or something. I was like, what are you doing?
His wife's 19.
Really? Yeah. Oh wow. Wait, I don't want to be a hater. Wait, is she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old was she when you met?
18.
She
You
had
were
just
together
turned 18.
you were married for a year and then dated for 2 years.
Well, she's turning 20 in like a couple months. Yeah.
There's a timeline here.
No, actually
Call the cops.
she had turned 19, like she had turned 18 2 months.
Call the
She had turned
police.
18 2 months before.
Damn, she doesn't forget nothing.
Yeah,
she has
literally.
a steel trap memory.
Yeah.
She'll remember that shit.
No, she turned 18 and then 2 months later we met. And then about a year later, over a year later we got married.
A year and 2 years. And
Sorry.
isn't she 19 now, you said?
She's turning 20 in a couple months, but yeah.
So she's 19 now. You were together for 2 years, married for a year. That's 3 years, babe. That's
No,
16.
I said almost 2 years.
So that's 16. Okay, that's 17.
You're just making
How old are you?
numbers up.
Did you help her with her times tables when she was learning those?
How old is she? How old are you?
I'm 36.
Call the police.
That's
crazy. No, but I mean, you're married, so you're one up on both of us.
What's funny is that I was talking to her about this today actually this morning.
That's crazy. You married her, so that actually is living proof that like age is truly, in sense of maturity, not really that
100%.
big of a thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Here's what I would say. Here's what I would say. I was talking to her this morning about this exact subject. She is so far apart from her age group. She actually did a sort of what's your age test, psychology test, and her age came back 44. And so it was
So that
kind
makes it okay.
But what I'm saying is because a lot of people would talk about compatibility, and like we've had girls on the show where they were like, I can't even imagine being compatible with somebody like that much older than me. And like we actually had guests here yesterday. Both of them were 18 years old.
Yeah.
And we had another guest who was 21. And it's crazy to me how far they are in maturity levels. Cause like I could never be able to imagine myself even have an hour conversation with any of these girls.
Yeah.
Because of how incompatible we are and how much we just do. Yeah. It's just like we
Right,
have
'cause
nothing
it's like
in common.
a different range.
We're like, talk. How do we get you to talk? Like
It's like not a reality that you're aware
we
of.
like
Yeah.
spin the back of their thing and then like and then like start moving. Like I was like very confusing.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like it's also like the era that we grew up in. There was still very much real life. Like it was like not like phones, Instagram, social media presence, like going out, all that kind of stuff. It was like that didn't really exist. Like I didn't get an iPhone until I was like in year 10.
I was in college when I got my
Yeah,
first
exactly.
iPhone, yeah.
Where like their whole lives are wrapped around this.
Yeah, my dad would kick me out of the house, go play with your friends.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You learn like basic human interaction.
Yeah.
We're playing like wiffle ball in the backyard and we get in a fight and then we like figure out how to like resolve the fight, you know?
Yeah.
And nowadays they're just sitting there,
Yeah. You know what's so crazy though? Is like, maybe this could be a problem, is I've never dated someone over the age of 30.
Ever?
Well, you've also never dated anybody for the past. Well, you also haven't dated anybody for the past 2.5 years. So it's like it
but
makes
the
it,
ones that like I've even like seen, all under 30.
30s are the best age.
I know.
40s they start to get too old. 20s is like they got their shit together. 30s is the golden years.
Yeah.
34 specifically.
Maybe that's my problem.
Yeah.
I would say like age gaps are very
Hey,
relative.
I could be 19 and getting married.
I would say no. Age gap is very relative to maturity. It just, I think, when it comes to people sort of putting this blanket statement on like, you should be this much older or this much younger, or whatever it is. I just don't think there is really a formula for it because the reality of it is, like, my wife does not really, she can't relate to her group of people that are her age.
Yeah, because they're in different aspects of life. Yeah, totally.
And so as much as she's like still like has friends that are 19, 20, 21, she also really appreciates the fact that like she has me as a husband who's like
Yeah.
much older that she could get along with in a lot of different aspects of life.
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of sense also she kind of, her family in general, like her upbringing was just very set to make her the way that she is.
Yeah.
Because her sister is 15 years old and she also acts very mature.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because like people would meet her and they think that like her sister is even older than her.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy. But like I said, like I would meet, you know, people on the podcast, whether it is or you know, some of her friends, and they're just like, I can't imagine having a conversation with them.
But even like, say for example, if they're like, you know, also 19 and, you know, having a husband is a very safe space. So she has someone that she trusts enough to marry, and like a masculine energy as a female guiding you, especially at that age, you are going to feel very safe and you are going to like grow up a lot quicker. But when you're 19 and you don't have anyone guiding you, you're just like, ugh.
Well, it's interesting you say that because we have had people have very mixed emotions and opinions about the guidance.
Yeah.
There are people that would sort of suggest that like if you have to be guided by your partner, that like that's not the right relationship. But I was actually having this conversation with somebody the other day where she was like, I don't want to look at my partner as like my dad.
Yeah, right.
And it was like, well, you don't have to look at your partner as your dad, but the reality of it is that women tend to date up. Women tend to want to be with someone as a man who is protective,
Yeah.
who is able to take care of them. And somebody who's able to take care of them naturally comes with a knowledge and wisdom that at most of the time tends to be more superior.
Yeah.
And so that feeling of, you know, wanting to be in your feminine is sort of wanting to be submissive.
Yeah.
And if you want to be submissive, you can't be submissive towards somebody that you see as an equal.
But it's also like being submissive to the right person. And like, honestly, if you're marrying someone, that is you saying like, I trust this person. And it's like in a world where as women, it's naturally very scary to be around men, especially if you don't trust them. To like marry someone is to say like, I wholeheartedly trust you, which I don't think that would be a bad thing at all to follow their guidance because you trust them.
Yeah.
And it's like you feel safe.
Yeah.
Like if I had a husband and I couldn't literally be blindfolded and be happy where I ended up, then I'm probably like not with the right person. But what made you propose? What made you go, yep, this is it, getting married? Because that's also a massive shift to not just like date for an extensive period, to be like married.
The big part of it for me was like, I knew very early on that like I wanted to marry her.
Yeah.
Because of how she was and like the value system that she has and how compatible we were. I told her very early on. I was like, you know, I don't want to scare you, but like we're gonna get married. And she said,
oh my God, but every guy says that. So she would be like, yeah, whatever.
She didn't, well, she was like, I'm 18 years old. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like we don't have to get married tomorrow. I'm just letting you know, like that's my intention. And I also, because I see how you are. And like, I think you're incredible. Like I would never want to lose you.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, so you're trying to like tie me down so like I don't go with somebody else. I was like, no. If you want to wait like 5 years, 6 years, however long you want to wait, we'll wait. But I also want to make sure that we both have the same intentions, so then we're not wasting time. And as much as she appreciated that, she later on told me that she didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I wanted to really focus on was giving her the space to sort of grow into the desire to want to get married. Because if she didn't have the desire, then you know, that wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be right to like marry her out of force, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and not to mention like we're in America, like that wouldn't have happened to begin with. So, the interesting part about it was that the qualities that she has are the exact qualities of a person that I always saw myself marrying.
Right.
And all I had to really make sure was that she felt the same way and it was reciprocal. And so when I met her family, we sat down with her mom and her dad, and like her mom and dad, like her mom had met me already, but her dad obviously like hadn't. And so when we sat down, her dad was like, you know, asking me all these like different questions, and like, you know, obviously the big part of it was like, why are you attracted to our daughter? You know, you have like 17-year age gap. Like, what is, you know, is there something wrong with you? And, you know, they had gone into it with like very like skeptical mindset.
Of course, their parents, yeah.
And the interesting part of it was they came out of that conversation with a completely different perspective of like, we're happy that you're going to marry our daughter. Aww. And I think it's sort of a obviously compliment on my end to you know, hear that and to sort of get that validation that like they understand, you know, what I see in their daughter. But I think if you ask a man what they want, they truly want someone who one understands them and who has a very solid feminine energy and somebody who respects them.
Yeah, 100%.
And as much as like these are very simple things, but it's very difficult for women in this era to fulfill these sort of small traits.
Yeah.
And, you know, I talk about this sometimes. Some of it has to do with the, you know, feminist movements, which I don't think in like theory there's anything wrong with it. But I think you end up with women who are kind of lost in the spectrum. And the way that I like to describe it is that the spectrum has two sides to it. You got the dominant independent women, and you got the submissive women who want to be taken care of and be housewives. And then in the middle, you got the lost puppies. And what ends up happening is the ones who are sort of hearing all this sort of advertisement on the feminist, be independent, be your own person, you know, make sure that no man could like take away your power, like all these things, you know, there are good messages in there.
Yeah.
But it comes with negative connotation.
Yeah.
Which is men suck. You don't need to respect them.
Yeah.
Just be by yourself. And when that happens, you end up getting confused on like, hey, am I supposed to like this person, or am I supposed to hate this person, or is this a person supposed to take care of me?
It's also like what you speak out is what you're going to see. So it's like if you're constantly like, I hate men, all men are the worst, you're going to look for the worst things in them. And like, I truly believe that like we are so lucky we're in a time now where women are doing a lot of things that they didn't used to do. But it's also like, again, when you meet the right person, being able to let that softer side still come through. But it's, finding that happy medium.
Yeah. The interesting thing is like my wife is very independent.
Yeah. Like
she's got her shit figured out, and like she knows what she wants, and she's very goal oriented, very motivated, and like just perfect human being. But when we're together, fully in her feminine, and very submissive, and just
I feel like that's every woman's goal.
Yeah, to be that person. Yeah, 100%. But then again, you know, you kind of, if you don't know how to navigate it, you just get lost in between.
Yeah.
And it's also, I think a lot of people would put emphasis in like the trust of like, oh, I have to be comfortable with this person to be in my feminine. But I think if most women practice being in their feminine, regardless of whether or not they trust a man, it would make them have the ability to switch much quicker. Because when you put it on the other person, you just have more of the tendency to make an excuse of like, it wasn't me, it's them.
Yeah. And
when that happens, once you do meet the right person, it's going to be much harder for you to switch that, because you're like, hey, is the trust coming? Is the trust coming? Is it the trust? But then maybe it's just not the trust. Maybe it's just you.
Well, that was also like when we were talking about earlier, me having like boyfriend after boyfriend. The moment I was single, I felt alone and I needed that void filled.
You need the validation.
Yeah, exactly. So then it didn't even matter if they were the perfect candidate. They were just like, you know, we liked each other, and then, you know, they wanted to be my boyfriend, I wanted to be their girlfriend, like enough. And then when I finally did that self-work, that's why I've been alone for so long, because I'm like, I don't want to just be with someone to be with someone. Like, I'd rather be alone and like wait for the right person than constantly, because every time you date someone that you're really not meant to be dating, you just pick up all the like trauma and problems and everything with that. So it's like not worth it.
Yeah, but it also can be a learning experience if you do it
I've had
correctly.
enough learning. No more learning. I'm done with the learning. So wait, what's going on with your girlfriend?
I don't have a girlfriend. I'm single.
Okay, well, what are you doing at the moment?
I've been seeing a girl for a couple weeks, and we're seeing how it goes. So,
How many weeks?
Actually 2.
yeah, probably 2.
Couple being 2, yeah.
So it's very early.
That is so fresh. Oh my God, well
Yeah.
that's kind of like still really sweet that like she's getting a mention at 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, you asked a question,
Yeah.
and then now he's like cornered into a, you know,
Oh, I have nothing to hide.
No,
I'm
I
an
just
open book,
mean in
yeah.
the sense like a lot of people with like 2 weeks would keep it very like hush hush. So I think that's really cool that you're like claiming it.
well, he's very honest.
Yeah.
He's a very honest
Like
man.
even back when I was a fuckboy.
Like a lot of guys would lie about that. They would go, no.
Yeah, I would always tell girls I don't want to be exclusive if I didn't want to be exclusive.
Yeah.
For some reason, they always thought that I was gonna be exclusive at some point. I don't
You're
know
like,
why.
you're like, I'm literally telling you the truth.
Yeah, I was like, I'm being honest with you. Like, at least I'm being like a fuck man about it. You know what I mean?
So how long have you guys been friends?
6-7 years probably.
Oh, wow. So has there been like a shift in your friendship? Were you like him before?
Did I like him?
No, were you like him? Fuck boy.
Oh, I've never been a fuckboy.
That is not
So-
true. He's definitely lying. 100% lying.
He's like, but like, so did you find when you got married, did that change your friendship at all?
I feel like we've honestly got stronger over the.
Yeah.
I mean, not really because of the marriage, but over the last few years, definitely.
Yeah, I think just our timeline when it comes to our friendship, we've just gotten closer and closer.
Because I always wonder if that's like a thing, because you know how it's like your group, like, you know, what everyone's kind of doing, is everyone going to do that?
Yeah, usually that is what happens is when somebody gets married. Well,
Everyone
first of
starts
all,
going-
you never see him again. Like, you
Yeah.
see him like once every 2 years, you know? But then, yeah, a lot of people get married. But
Yeah.
I don't know about our friend group. I think we're pretty far away.
You're like, I think we're chilling. We're chilling.
Yeah, think
Yeah,
we're
I
chilling.
highly doubt. Like our friend group is anywhere from like 40-ish to like 30 now.
Yeah.
I would say we're like 29, and I don't think anybody's getting married.
Right.
Except for me and one of our other guy friends who's older. He's like 43.
Who?
Andy, where he's
You think Andy's
44.
gonna get married? Well,
He's
Andy's
married already.
It's a different kind of marriage. He has like open marriages and
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
orgies and like all this
Oh
crazy
my God.
shit. Yeah, he does like the crazy life. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Wait, but he's married.
Well,
Yeah,
but that's a completely different comment. But the point is that he, except from him and me, we're the only 2 people who are married. I don't foresee anybody else getting married anytime soon. Well, actually, one of our friends, yeah.
Do you believe like when guys are friends, because you would obviously see other guys, but your own guy group, the mentality within the group is a representation of how you treat women?
No, we treat our guy friends way worse. You should see our group chat. We destroy each other.
But like, when you guys speak about women,
We have a very broad spectrum of how everybody is when it comes to this, and I think one of the things to also understand is that like because of who we like every single one of us treats women very well.
okay, good.
As far as the way that we respect women
Yeah.
is concerned. So you wouldn't meet any of us that would be like disrespectful or meet anybody who would say negative things about
Yeah.
our friend group as as a whole. Obviously there is conflicts between
Yeah.
like people that date someone, or like you're in a relationship with someone, then you break up,
Yeah,
and then,
yeah, the
there are
standard,
always
yeah.
those issues. But you would never have like a group of women that would say something negative about anybody else, well, except Zach in a Facebook group chat. But that's a longer story.
Zach's
I got
like,
blasted in that thing.
Zach's literally like, wait, am I not in the friend group? What do you mean no girls say we're bad?
Yeah, but I think what you said about that is fairly true.
Yeah,
majority
it
of the
is,
time. Yeah.
Because I find like when you find a really good guy and you meet their friends,
I like that you're pointing at me when you were saying this. Yeah.
when you meet a really good guy,
The plant.
yeah, literally, when you meet a really good guy and like you meet his friends, usually their friends are really good people too.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually when you meet a bad guy, you meet their friends and they're bad too.
Sure.
Actually, it's funny because there's one guy in our friend group that specifically is very much concerned with like always getting girls and talking to girls, and do you want to go to like this person's birthday? And he's like, is there going to be girls there? No, I'm not going. Like that kind of thing. And
He's
every
probably-
girl that I date doesn't
Every
like
guy
him.
like that I think is secretly gay.
You think he's gay? Because we've talked about that before.
Shockingly, actually, there has been multiple people suggesting that either they thought he was gay, or saying, or is he not gay?
Because it's like the overstepping of needing to validate. Like, no, look, I want girls. I want girls.
It could be.
But yeah, I don't think he's gay.
I
but
don't think he's gay.
I mean, we
But I'm
joke about
definitely
it.
gonna
He's
Tell him in the
watching
group
this
chat.
and he's like, phew.
No, I'm definitely posting this in the group chat.
You're like, oh, this was about you.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's always like a rotten apple in every friend group for one reason or another. No. I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying like in general that
Yeah.
there's always that one sort of why is this person in this friend group sort of thing, and we're not an exception when it comes to that. But I think overall, like when you meet me, you meet Zach, you meet like one of our other friends, or like maybe a couple of our other friends, like I think there's like 3 or 4 people who are like very similar in value systems and just like how we treat people and like how we sort of treat each other when it comes to the bottom line of things.
I feel like that's like, even you see it a lot with like girl groups. Like everyone in my girl group is pretty much the same. Like everyone dates to marry. Everyone is like very much holds people accountable. Like if anyone in our friend group was to cheat, everyone would be like, bro, why the fuck would you do that? Like everyone really holds themselves accountable. And I think it really does create a standard. And then I always wonder, I'm like, do men do this as well?
Yeah. I mean, we respect each other's opinion. And I think, there's been times
But would
where
you
like
hold
Zach,
each other accountable?
yeah, there's been times where like Zach would be like, hey, like this happened. And I'd be like, yo, like what the fuck? Or like he would come to me and be like, hey, like this happened. Like, why would you do that?
It was
or like,
you.
huh?
He'll come to me and do this, and I'll be like, what the fuck? Then he'll come again and say he did this. I'm like, don't do that. He's like leaving himself out. He's like,
No. No, I said he'll come to me and be like, yo, like, why would you do this? Or why would you say this? Or like, this person thinks this. You know what I mean? So like, I think if you don't have a group of friends who keep you accountable, then I don't think they're true friends. I
Yeah.
don't think they're truly people that you are supposed
people
to be
that
close
love
with.
you will clock you. Like,
Oh,
they'll be
100%.
like, don't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, we have a guys group chat where we're pretty honest in there. Like if someone's fucking up, like you're gonna find out.
I love that. Though.
Yeah. Or even if you're just fucking up in terms of like, not taking care of yourself or something like that. Like
In
you're
what
gonna
way?
get called. Like one of our friends is fat and he gets demolished. Because fat is like the easiest thing to make fun of. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Aw.
and we just pile on him.
He's actually been losing weight.
He has been. You know why? Because we've been destroying him in the group chat.
Yeah, that's probably it.
motivation. Yeah.
But it's actually interesting because one of our friends we had dinner, and then we had like sat down, and he was kind of going over his relationship history. His relationship had just ended, and they broke up, and like we were like, oh, like what happened? And he was like telling the story, and
see, I never even thought guys asked what happened. I thought they just went, "Do you break up?" Yeah. Oh, that sucks. So yeah, the footy today. Da da da.
No, we were talking about like him cheating, and like he was
shit.
basically, and he had like emotionally cheated.
Right.
And
worse, honestly.
Okay. What is cheating to you?
Infidelity is like basically if you are speaking to someone or even conversing in a way and your intention is in a lustful manner, you're cheating.
Okay. So if in their mind they're interested in the other person, they're cheating.
Yeah. Like they haven't physically done anything, and again, like say if I was dating you and you liked someone else, you have not cheated, right? But that would be within you to know, like, I'm doing the wrong thing.
Okay, but that becomes very problematic because like men are, first of all, visual creatures, and men tend to be more sexual than women.
100%.
I'm very sexual. So if I'm looking at you and I'm thinking to myself, I really want to fuck you, am I cheating on my wife now? I think that becomes a very like tricky.
Yeah, it's a hard thing because then it's like, yeah, it's like if you don't action it, then it's like it's not feeding into temptation. Yeah, it's a hard one. So basically, I think emotional cheating's actually worse with men because for men, I do have a sense of understanding that they can cheat physically and genuinely not mean it.
There's an interesting study they did where they asked
but emotionally you have to mean it. Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. They did a study where they took a group of guys and a group of girls and they asked them the same question.
Yeah.
Would you be more heartbroken if your partner hooked up with somebody,
yeah,
but they said, hey, it doesn't mean anything to me, I don't even remember their name, I love you, I don't give a fuck about this person? Or would you be more upset if somebody said, hey, I just want to let you know I went out to lunch with somebody else and like I feel like I'm falling in love with her, but don't worry, we didn't do anything physical? Which one would make you more upset?
the second one, 100%.
Yeah, so girls get more upset from the second one and guys get more upset from the first one.
Oh, wow.
Because for a guy...
Wait. Was that stat the right way? So, like, the guys actually did answer more to that?
The guys answered that, yeah, they didn't want a girl physically cheating on them.
Yeah.
Because from a guy's point of view...
I agree with that, though, because for a girl, you do have to really emotionally like someone to be physical at all. Where guys, I feel like they don't as much.
When from a guy's perspective, it's like, okay, he bought you food. Okay, like from an evolutionary perspective, he wasted his resources and he didn't get anything out of it.
Oh my God.
Where the other perspective is like, oh, I'm spending money on dates with you and like taking you out and going on a trip with you, doing all these things. But then he got laid. So it's like he got the benefit without putting in any of the resources.
Work. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's terrifying. I think both are horrible, can I just say?
I mean, yeah, they are both horrible.
Have you ever been cheated on?
Not that I like really know of.
Okay.
There's been like obviously open conversations about it and it's like been gray areas, but I wouldn't say yes. But honestly, you never know. Like people, you just would never know.
Sure, but I mean, if it hasn't happened when you realize it or recognize it, then chances are it didn't happen.
Yeah, hopefully.
What do you think? Let me get your advice on something, actually. So I run into the problem. This is happening multiple times, but similar situations. So we do a Palm Springs trip every year in the summer. And I go with this girl that I'm seeing. To be fair, we're not exclusive or anything like that. But, we're definitely like, if I'm there with her on the trip, I'm not going to go hook up with another girl, go back to her room.
So.
You know what I mean? It's like I have like morals, even if we're open. You know what I mean? And she would always like, we get there and I'm like talking to everybody and she's why are you flirting with all these other girls?
Oh, wow.
But to me, it's just like, that's just how I communicate with people. Like I like flirt with guys.
Yeah.
Like I talk to guys the same way. Like we make fun of each other and I like give them shit.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, what am I supposed to do? Like, hello, good to meet you. Oh, how was your day? Very, very swell then. You know, like what am I supposed to do?
That is dapper. Well, I honestly feel with those kind of things, it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier is like finding your person. Like, you know, you can shape who you are to fit her needs or find someone that doesn't find that like insecure for themselves. Because it's like, you know, a lot of the time there's people like I used to be very, very, very talkative like with people when I would first meet them. And it was only once I got older, I kind of like started to shut up. I'd be like, I don't know these people. I don't want to like overspeak to them and stuff. But then I would be the same. I would associate talking as just like, oh, you just randomly do it. But now I'm like, because I don't talk as much, I do like listen to people's words a lot more. So sometimes when people are over talking, I'm like, what are they overcompensating?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can't picture you like not talking a lot.
Well, because you've got me on a podcast. Like normally, like if I'm on a night out.
You seem like a talker though. You seem like a
I
talker.
can talk once I'm like in a conversation. But if you like see me on a night out, I'm that person that's like.
When is your birthday?
Aries, April
April what?
17th, next week.
Oh, it's coming up.
Nice.
Yeah. I hate birthdays.
So is flirting cheating then?
I don't think it's cheating, but I think it's like you would have to reevaluate where you are in that position. Like if you're just like doing like flirting, banter, whatever. But if you're flirting with a motive and like an intention, then it's kind of like up to you to sit back and be like, wait, why am I doing this? Because that's probably going to eventually lead to actual cheating.
So if your boyfriend came and said, hey, last night I flirted with this girl,
I would
your
fucking
question,
kill him.
you would kill him.
I would, out of sight, out of mind, just don't fucking tell me.
Okay. That's a good policy to have.
Yeah,
I think.
literally.
You
Because
know?
it's like,
ignorance is bliss.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's harmless. So it's
Yeah.
like, I would rather honestly not know. Literally not know. But it's like, if you came home and told me, now it seems like you're trying to make me jealous or trying to like get a rise out of me for like whatever reason. But if you didn't tell me, it's like, whatever, do what you want.
We had a guest yesterday, and she said that watching porn is cheating.
Oh, wow.
Do you agree with that opinion?
It's a hard one. So I don't watch porn. I haven't watched porn in over a year and a half. So I know it's not cheating, but I truly think the industry is what is wrong with a lot of things. And I just think it's not cheating, but chemically what it does to your brain is not good. It's not good for your relationship.
What do you think it does to your brain?
I truly think it creates like a false idea of like what things are meant to be. Also, it's very like aggressive. It's very, I personally don't think it's good for your brain. Like, and people grow up watching it and then having like a different perception of what things are meant to be.
I think it's mostly the physiological effect it has on your brain. Because essentially what happens is there's, dopamine in your brain that gets set off and it hits these receptors and that makes you feel happy or pleasure or whatever it is. And with porn, you can watch 20 different videos of all different kinds of sex with different girls and different things happening.
Yeah.
And so you're smacking your dopamine so hard that then when you go back to normal sex, especially if like a lot of kids nowadays are like addicted to porn, it's like it isn't even exciting to you.
Yeah,
and
it's
there's
like
a lot of problems with
overstimulating.
that.
Yeah, that's why I just don't think it's good.
Why are men expected to accept women hormones, but women don't accept men hormones?
So what would you define female hormones and what would you define male hormones?
Female is getting mad at you for no reason. I think.
I would say emotional outbursts.
Yeah.
I would say, obviously, anger, lack of desire for sex.
I've literally always thought this. Women need love to want sex. Men need sex to want love.
Ooh,
I know.
that was cool.
Yeah, and it's a really big thing. And I think it's something that as men and women, we're never going to like perfectly get it. And when you do, you do. Mm-hmm. But it's so true. And like, I find women need that emotional side. Again, women need love to want sex. Men need sex to want love. And then people get at this crossroad. And that's when people probably don't respect the hormones, when it's at a bad point. Because I think when it's good, they do. Like a man will like hear out a girl until she's like, you know, being too much. Then he goes, no, too much. And a girl will like respect a guy until he's like, you know, screaming and yelling and angry. Mm-hmm. So it's only really when it's like bad. They don't.
But the question I'm asking is like, why is this a stigma around men having to accept women hormones?
I don't think there is, because like, say for example, like men and women are so incredible at doing like very different things. And like, you know, there's some women that can do what men can do. There's some men that can do what women do. And then like, there's obviously the typical what we do. And like, so when I was growing up, when I was like super emotional, when like my boyfriend would have to work and stuff, I'd be like, oh, you never have time for me, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is unfair. Like you're lacking my emotions, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But when you get older, I learned like he's working so he can look after me, so that I can be happy, so that, you know, I can like on the weekend spend time with him and talk. And it's when you change your perception. So in answer to what like you're asking, it's kind of when you're at a point with yourself that you can see different places. Because like I would never, if like my man was really upset, invalidate that, because I know a man's life is probably a lot harder than mine. And like I can respect that. And I think with age, I just learned if I want to complain and if I want to be emotional, I do it with my girlfriends. Mm-hmm. I just like dump it all on them. We have like a big therapy session. And I go home, I'm like, love you, babe. What's for dinner?
So in that aspect, how much should a guy make, do you think? Like what's the minimum you think is required for a guy to make?
It's really hard because like one, life is so expensive now, but truly you can meet a man that's worth like 10 million or a man that's worth 10,000. The man with 10,000 could be more generous, more giving, more provider, more masculine, and more like, you know, for the relationship than the man with 10 million. Yeah, maybe. He might spend every cent.
Chicken McNuggets from McDonald's?
Maybe that's my favorite meal. Maybe he listens.
Provide middle seat on Spirit?
No, but it's like, say, for example, like, he might be, like, you might have money. Are you going to give it to me?
Nope.
Exactly. So the guy with 10 grand might give it to me. Like,
but what do you mean give it to you? Like,
no, I'm not asking him to give me money. But it's like, you know what I mean?
You're saying like a sugar daddy scenario.
No, not at all. What I'm saying is like, you choose what you give someone, right?
Yeah.
And it's not actually physically giving money. It could just be like,
taking them on a trip.
Taking them out or like taking them to dinner or even like getting them a flower from fucking 7-Eleven. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You could have the 10 mil and not go do that. The guy over there could. So it's like, that's a really broad question because you could make all the money in the world and still not have the attributes to be a provider, to be like a carer, to take like care of a woman, or even in like that kind of avenue. The guy with 10K, he could like literally work his ass off and his mindset is just like, I just want to see you happy.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're saying is you don't care how much the guy makes. You care if he's giving with what he makes.
Yeah, as long as he's got that attribute that's like, you know, I do have to say with the 10K thing, I'm going to step back on that a bit because I would question why a man only had $10,000 because it's like, where's his worker ethic?
Yeah, but what if it was like this? Maybe he's like, manager at the McDonald's and he can give you as much free McDonald's, he doesn't even have to spend his money.
I'm not done. No,
that's a very drastic example.
Yeah,
but,
whoa.
What
he's
if
a provider?
What if he's an artist? He's a musician.
Yeah.
Or
okay, good
he plays chess.
That was so far like the other way.
You said 10,000. Who else makes $10,000 a year?
Yeah, you're literally like, you want the free food? Like, is that what you're in there for? No, so like say, but it's also like money is the second thing. Like we're going straight to the finances. Have you met this guy and even liked him first to get to the point where you're discussing where he's working, what he's doing? Like,
well, there's some women that only care about that, right? They care about what you drive, they care about what you're wearing, and they just clock you and they look at you up and down and they look at the car you're driving and they're just like, okay, no.
Yeah, just like we look at girls and we say, she's fat, no.
But
not fat in a bad way.
But okay, you can think that and that can last for however long it can last. But when you are like sharing a house with someone, you want to get married, you want to have a kid, are you really going to be like covering your eyes, holding a Chanel handbag, keeping to that bit for your one life you have?
So here's what happens. So I used to have a company in the modeling industry, right?
Yeah.
So I would see models 18, 19 getting into the industry. I would see models in the middle and I would see models like, 30s getting out, right? Mm. And what happens is, especially in LA, if you're a model, you have access to this insane lifestyle where whether it's a sugar daddy, whether it's just promoters, whether it's you're just getting invited to yachts, private jets, amazing trips, right? But most of these girls never develop like real career skills. Yeah. So they model or they act or whatever, and somebody's paying their rent. And then they get to 29, 30, 31, they're not getting modeling jobs anymore. And I think they just have no other option. Like they have zero career path. But what's even worse is they're unwilling to go back to like college kid coming out of college, living in somebody's basement because that's all they can afford, and like starting as an intern because they're used to being on yachts. Yeah. So now they have no choice.
Yeah, they have a different scale. And like that's why like I was saying before, like even with someone like I would never date someone that didn't have finances or comfortability purely because I know the arguments that come with it. But also like, you want someone that's got work ethic and, management skills and discipline and stuff to obviously set themselves a place where they can be comfortable. But even with that, like I truly think with everything in the world, there is a place for everything. So like people go like, oh, she only likes him because of like, his money. He only likes her because she's pretty.
Yeah, here's
like it's an exchange. Like they're happy. Like
I think people that are very like small brain, simple-minded individuals don't understand. They see either it's a gold digger or it's like a girl who likes you for your morals, values, and character. And they don't understand 99% of people it's a gray area in between where there's like some girls are attracted to guys with money because it shows a level of ambition and success. That's where I was trying to get at with it. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy well, but it's like, it's a energy that like, they've got their shit together. Mm-hmm. But then, some of the most wealthy men are so insecure. And I actually got in an argument with my brother's, well, now wife, but fiance about this, where she was saying, she's like, Zach in LA, everybody's superficial. Girls just want guys for their money. You're going to end up with a gold digger. And I was like, all right, would you have talked to my brother on the first date if he was a homeless guy? And she's like, no. Okay, what if he worked at McDonald's? What if he lived in his mom's basement? But even like McDonald's, there's a place for everyone. Like we love our McDonald's. No, but I'm saying every girl has a certain bar depending on her personal, which usually is based on like your peer group. Yeah. And so for some girls, the bar is just like, yeah, McDonald's is fine. For most girls, McDonald's is not fine. For most girls, I would say like nice office job, 50, 60, 70K a year is fine. For some girls, their bar is like... I dated a guy that worked at McDonald's. Did you? Yeah. No way. Yeah. Crazy. Hi. We got to get to that story in a second. And some girls, it's 100K or above. Yeah. Some girls, they need to date a millionaire, right? Yeah. So for someone to say, you shouldn't want a guy. You shouldn't have a bar of, I need a guy who makes over this amount. It's like, well, you have a bar too.
Yeah.
Everybody has a bar. It's just an arbitrary bar that you just make up in your brain.
The other thing is there's another bar that's set. There's another bar that's set, and it's based on like, you know, a guy with money wants to stand next to a girl that looks a type of way. The maintenance on this girl, I know, is crazy. Like my hair yesterday was $3,000, right? My nails are $100 USD. My Botox and filler is like $2,000. My clothes I wear, my fake tans, like, you know, my laser hair removal, my eyebrows, my lashes, that is not cheap. And it's like, yeah, if I didn't do all that, I probably would like look different. And then I could probably go into that budget range. But it's like, the guys that look that way, they like, that management is crazy.
But to suggest that you're spending so much more than the guy does, like, I spend a lot on my health.
Makeup.
I spent on what?
Makeup, that's the other thing.
Yeah, but well, yeah, of course. But I spend a lot on my health. I spend a lot on the time that I spend going to the gym.
Yeah.
On the gym memberships or on the supplements or the,
But that's why you've got the 19-year-old.
The point.
You're literally answering my question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
that's why you've
your own
got
argument.
the 19-year-old.
Yeah.
I think the
If you didn't do all
notion-
that, you would be going like 26.
It's like Fight Club.
No,
just
but I
punching
think
himself
the
in
notion
face,
that you're doing that for another person is a flawed
No, I do it for
argument.
myself. And for
I
work.
do it for myself. Exactly. I don't do it for my 19-year-old wife.
Yeah.
I do it because I care about myself.
Yeah.
And you do it because you care about yourself. So making that as if somebody else owes you as a result of what you do for yourself, I think is a very flawed argument.
No, I'm saying that's what they typically go for. That looking girl.
To a certain extent, but even that type of looking girl that they go for, they don't go for her because they want to marry her. And I think that's where the issue comes in, right?
I don't think that's necessarily true.
It is true.
You don't think guys go for hot girls? They also want to marry hot girls. Yeah, we want to fuck hot girls too, but we
You
also
go
want to
for
marry.
hot
That's like
girls,
such
but
a mean thing to say. If you're hot, guess what? You're not getting fucking married.
No, if you're not hot, you just have to marry like a guy who works at Chipotle.
Because that actually, like, I will be so for real, is a big fear when you're a good looking girl. Because people want you. Because, like, you know, they look at you and it's like, I want that. Like, you want the shiny toy. But then it's like, I don't want what comes with the shiny toy. Like, the maintenance, as well as, like, everyone wanting the shiny toy. Where I can just get this toy that I'm happy with this toy. It's a quiet toy and it's chill. But I would love to, like, play with that toy for a little bit and then I'll go to my chill toy.
But if you were the shiny toy, but then you just had a chill personality, then it's like everybody would love the shiny toy. But most shiny toys don't have chill personalities because they're shiny.
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of, like, I know, like, a lot of really good chicks that are beautiful.
No, absolutely. There are, but I think percentage-wise, I think it's...
Maybe, yeah.
And I don't even blame girls for this. It's like, yeah, if I was in an environment where at age 18... I was getting DMs to fly to Dubai for a week on a private jet, like, I probably would be a little bit entitled.
It's also like beautiful women see the worst of men. Like, you know, like walking down a shopping center and someone's like, you know, talking or harassing you. So it's then hard to trust the general public of men. They get like the worst of all men. Like, men try and like touch them, talk to them and all that, and also talk to them with like wrong intention. So their guards are like more up. So then they can seem a lot more bitchy because they just get a bit sick of it. Where like some girls that maybe like don't get as much male attention are like, yay, like really excited to get it.
I dated a girl one time, and when we first started dating, you know, one of my friends was like, oh, who's this girl? What's her Instagram? You know, they want to see what she looks like. And so I sent it. And he's like, oh, dude, I know that I've met this girl before. Like, she's a bitch or something like that. Oh. And I was like taken aback because like this girl was like one of the sweetest girls I ever met. She was like very kind-hearted. And I didn't understand it until we went to a party and I'm watching every single guy come up to her and try to hit on her. And she comes off as very rude. But then I'm also thinking to myself, like, what would you have her do? Pretend to entertain a conversation, lead this guy on, and then you're stuck in this, you have to go to the bathroom and then like go lose this guy in the club. Like it's like.
That is exactly that. Like the amount of people that think I am such a bitch.
I think that's just your face. Yeah.
Oh. Maybe. But then you're like, when I'm like, oh, people think I'm such a bitch, you're like, think. No, but like when
I don't think you're a bitch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I honestly, I can own it. Like I'm like that as well. Like if I don't want to talk to you, I won't talk to you. I won't also like stroke your ego if like I don't need to have the interaction. It's there. But like if I like you and if you're speaking me to a genuine, like people that know me are like, you're so sweet. Like I don't get how people can think you're a bitch. But exactly like that, if you see me in a public setting, it's like, no.
I mean, you would just have no time. You just spend the entire time talking to like boring dudes about stuff you don't care about.
I'm just with my girls.
Yeah, hang out with the chicks.
Yeah, literally.
So Zach, are you suggesting that gold diggers don't exist?
I think they exist,
definitely
but I
do.
think it's very low percent. Like girls who are literally like, you know, laughing with their friends. Ha ha ha! I'm look what I got from this guy. I'm stealing his money. I think it's like 1%. I think it's very
I don't think
low.
it's really that common. And also, it's like, I feel it's. I do like. I feel like there's a place for everything. Like, you know, the people that are doing that, they are providing a service to them. And like, you know, that person gets to be with that person and they're happy. But I think in like the general overview, I don't think it's like very common.
You'd be surprised too. I've met so many girls who do the sugar daddy thing.
Yeah.
And when their sugar daddy like, and it is a very much like he's like paying the rent or like paying, like he
That's
gave her a
crazy.
car, like that kind of stuff. But when he like breaks up with them or like stops seeing them, the way they talk about him, you can tell they were in love.
Oh.
Like it's the same way they talk about like when a girl's like upset because she got broken up with an ex and she like is kind of like complaining about him, but you can tell she just can't stop thinking about him. You know what I mean? It's that same energy that I can feel.
Well, it's also like a lifestyle, but that's actually like, because like where you live, like paying your rent, that's your comfortability. Like I've never had someone pay my rent. So I can't even imagine though when that ends.
So you keep dating McDonald's guys.
It's because I own a house.
Whoa. Whoa.
But anyway.
Just drop that in there real quick.
I don't pay rent.
Good for you. In LA or in Australia?
No, in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, so I haven't paid rent in a few years.
Okay.
But when I did rent, it was with my ex, but we split it.
Okay.
Nice. Final question. Does size matter?
No. I truly don't think so.
So micro penis, no problem. You would
I
do.
can't say I've ever experienced that. To give a overview.
Yeah, those Australian guys got anacondas, you know. Y'all got all the wildlife down there.
That is diabolical. No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No,
It sounds like
people.
you've been like experiencing more so average. So then it doesn't sound like there's anything in between you've experienced.
Honestly, it's been so long I can't even remember. But I feel, honestly, I've liked him. Again, we had that conversation where it's like someone you like. So then I truly don't think it matters.
So if somebody had a micro penis.
I can't answer that if I don't know.
A micro penis is this big.
No, I know, but I don't know. I would like to think I wouldn't care because I love the person.
Do you like carrots?
No.
Do you like baby carrots?
No. I heard a thing that baby carrots are just normal carrots cut.
Really?
Yeah, like they're not actually grown into baby carrots, they're like cut down.
Crazy.
No, that's not true. Who told you?
That might be
What's
true.
what's
Because they don't have any skin on them. You're right.
what's the guy's name? He was in like One Direction or something. He like was doing a thing and he was like, I just found out baby carrots. Look it up.
Liam Neeson.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, go on TikTok and say baby carrots are just normal carrots cut.
There's something called ChatGPT. You could just ask the question: do baby carrots exist? Yes.
It's not do they exist. We know they exist because somebody made
Yeah,
them in a
what do you
lab.
mean?
We're trying to
No,
figure out if
I-
they're made
They're
in a
real,
lab or
yeah.
made in nature.
I want to see that video.
What video?
The TikTok one, him saying it. Maybe he was like taking the piss. Oh my God.
Oh, that is true.
Oh!
Let's go.
Fun fact of the day. That's not true.
Baby carrots you see in grocery stores are not naturally small carrots. They're made from full-size
There
regular
you
carrots.
go.
Damn.
Interesting.
You're right.
Learn
He's
some-
wrong.
No,
Learn
hold
something
on.
new
Hold
every
Nana,
on.
day.
nana, boo, boo. Stick your
Hold
head
on,
in the
hold on.
This suspense is
Okay.
killing me.
So there is another answer to this. The real baby carrots, they get pulled early from the ground. So they do exist, but the ones that you see in the store, they're cut.
Which is what we're talking about. Let's be for real. You're not going and picking no baby carrot.
Yeah, you ain't picking no carrot. Well, I don't know if Mo would pick a carrot. It would probably be a younger one, maybe a baby carrot.
Fresh out.
Fresh in the
Not
ground.
fully grown.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Hey, you're married, we're not, so.
Yeah, true.
That is the exact point. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You've been
Thank
fantastic.
you for having me, guys.
This is one of our longest shows now. So I think this is like the second longest. We usually never go this long. So
Yup.
you were great.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.